The views and opinions expressed on Unlock Your Wealth Radio are those of the hosts, guests, and callers only and are not necessarily the views of Unlock Your Wealth Radio, Heather Wagenhals, or Success Publishing International.
More willpower than a barefoot woman at a shoe sale. Able to stretch a single paycheck for an entire month. Makes money concepts easier than third grade math. Introducing your purveyor of prosperity, Heather Wagenhals.
Work all day, stress all night. Take your mind off your money and focus on your life. Money don't matter for the stuff it bought. It's the way you think, not what you've got, yeah.
Unlock Your Wealth Radio starts now.
Get your money mind right.
Nice. on the ball.
That's classic.
Yeah,
I'm like,
we're going to keep this.
Yeah, well, I almost choked because I swallowed, and then you know how it feels like it's going down the wrong pipe, so I couldn't talk. Hey, everybody. Today's show is sponsored in part by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at unlockyourwealthradio.com/freebook and click on the link to over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. At least I did that part from memory.
That was great.
Sorry for almost killing myself here at the beginning. I don't know. Would that be drowning?
And now, here's Heather.
Yeah. Crickets. More crickets. A passing car in the night. I'm Heather Wagenhals. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm flanked by our producer extraordinaire, Michael Terry.
Hey, folks. How you doing?
And we will help you get your money mind right on today's show, along with these great features. So this week's key is take emotion out of the picture. So we're going to learn how to separate ourselves and how we can be passionate about earning money and building wealth and be prodigious when it comes to spending it. Our moolah word of the day, yeah, it has to totally relate to our minutes on your money. That would be compulsive buying disorder, perhaps. So we got like acronyms and dog shaking and all kinds of stuff here. So moneyism, we got a really great one. It's from a poem. From an old guy, like a dead guy. Anyway, it's interesting because he's talking about justifying poverty. So we're going to rip it to shreds on today's show and why that mindset is not a money mindset.
Not a good mindset.
No. And so that's what's going to also lead into our money drama after we talk about justifying poverty. And we're going to talk about peer group choices and poverty and how those are linked. So we want to pay attention to the back half of the show. Not that the first half isn't going to be fabulous, but the back half is going to be interesting. So for Minutes on Your Money, you should probably find out how many of these 5 types of spending disorders you have. We're going to talk about the different types of spending addiction on Minutes on Your Money. Our trivia question, as always, is based on a previous show, and our past show was knowledge is power, not knowing, knowledge is power, not knowing is powerful. And if you tuned in last week, you'll know exactly what I meant by that and why the absence of knowledge can sometimes be greater. And so that's what our trivia question has to do with. Plus, today's guest, have you ever wondered about government auctions? Because I have, I've been to just a couple of police auctions, but there are other type of auctions. And, you always hear about people buying like Ferraris for $10 and stuff from these drug seizures and everything. You're like, how do I do that? Well, Ian Aronovich is going to be on the show today, and he's going to teach us how. I'm so excited. As always, we will talk about your money, your credit, and how to get ahead in any economy. We will also show you how to manage your money easier, saving time and reducing stress using these proven techniques for you to create unlimited wealth and happiness. Now, Insiders Club members are entered automatically in weekly giveaways, and if you are not a member and would like to compete for great money management tools, just answer today's trivia question correctly. And this week's trivia question is, in last week's show, we talked about the 5 areas of concern. And all you have to do is name 2 of the 5 areas of concern. If you don't know what the answer is, you can hurry up and download last week's show and take a listen. By the way, I've added new players to the show. And I've also, so there are multiple ways now that you can get Unlock Your Wealth Radio, and our app is almost done too, which I'm excited about that.
Great.
So we just have a couple of tweaks that kept hiccuping during the testing. So the app is almost here, and then you won't even need your other stuff.
Cool.
But you can download the show and listen to try to answer today's trivia question, because you could answer live, but you don't have to. If you are listening live and would like to hop in the chat room at the website and try your hand, you can pop in, because I am here. Hi, I'm here. Come visit. If you are driving around, you can give us a call at 1-866-966-9420. Or if you are listening from a podcast and not listening live or unable to call at this time, you can send us an email with your potential right answer to trivia@uywradio.com. That's trivia@uywradio.com. Good luck to you who are playing the game. But if you are not in the competition, that's okay, because if you have no idea what the answer is, everyone can still walk away a winner. For you, those in the Unlock Your Wealth Radio Nation, Audible is offering a free audiobook download and 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. You know what? I'm almost at 300 books now.
Wow.
I'm almost at 300 bucks. I'm cruising.
What is that, per month?
No, like in my library.
Oh, okay.
God, 300 books a month. When would I have time to do the show? When would I have time to sleep? I wouldn't even have time to go visit the
I
facilities.
do this all the time. I just kind of say something without thinking it through. 300 a month. Let's see. That's one every 5 minutes.
That's 10 books a day. Like, I'm good, but even on triple speed, I can't do 10 books in one day. Holy smokes. I still got to eat.
Yeah.
Oh, and I got my first job, which is being the wife of Fred. So, that takes up a lot of time.
Yeah,
That'd
that
be,
takes a lot of time.
Short books I can do in a day, but that's pushing it.
Brochures. We could do 300 brochures in a month, maybe.
300 brochures, yeah.
Pamphlets.
Yeah, I could do a stack of those. So anyway, moving right along. So today's minute's on your money. Okay, so I'm totally... By the way, Carrie did a really good job on this. I think it's pretty hysterical. So 5 types of spending addicts. Could you be one of them? Is your spending starting to become a problem when it keeps going on and on and on and gets more expensive? Compulsive shopping can range from an occasional budget-busting diversion to a drop-dead serious addiction, Laura Coffey told Today Money. At its most extreme levels, a compulsive buying problem can lead people to hide or lie about their purchases, max out numerous credit cards, live on the edge financially, and stockpile items that never get used and often still have the price tags attached. Oh, they're talking about my mother. That's my mom. If you are or someone you know exhibits these traits, it could be the warning signs of compulsive buying disorder. Like a gambling addiction, it can send the sufferer into a decline of mounting debt. Take a look at 5 of the more common compulsive buying disorders with some of these tips to catch the behaviors and minimize them before they become an issue. So first, and this is how I found myself a couple weeks ago at Barrett Jackson Auto Auction, the thrill seeker.
Yeah, I saw that Facebook picture.
That was me. Ed China's a really cool guy, by the way, from Wheeler Dealer. And you know how he looks tall on TV? Like, he's so way tall. I would guess he's like 6'7". Mm-hmm. Easy.
That's the guy that was in the picture?
Yeah, Ed China. And that was like me standing up and him standing up. And I had to take a selfie like so at an awkward angle to get us both in there. I had to like look down at the phone to get us both in there. But what a super nice guy. He had a great wife too.
Oh, cool.
So anyway, and it was funny because we were arguing. There was this killer, like 1937 Rolls Royce. And like, there was no way to really price it up, but it was like tin. It kind of reminded me of the flying machine from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Do you remember that?
Sure.
They also had actually another car that was the Model A that Truly Scrumptious was driving. Remember when she crashed into the lake? Yeah, they had that car there too. But so it totally was undervalued. I thought, oh my gosh, Like, I didn't even bother bidding on it because I'm like, it's going to be $500,000 or more, right?
Yeah.
It's like totally not in my pocketbook. But I was getting excited about the lower bidding part, right? But it only sold for like $115,000. And for a Rolls Royce from 37, like you would expect it would have gotten like big numbers.
I could have afforded that.
Well, yeah, just trade in your house and you can live in the car like a vagabond. I'll let you park at my house.
Only $115,000.
You're not a car collector. You're not a car collector. It's okay. But, that bidding is quite a thrill. And, but see, I care about what I buy, but so I'm not quite number one, but the thrill seeker doesn't care so much about what they're buying, but it's the act of buying that gets them going. Their validation comes from an attraction to big price tags and the enjoyment of feeling thrilled from plonking down large sums of money on items, regardless of what's being purchased. Okay. So that is not me, because I actually care about it. But, I save money and set aside for exciting things like that. Because, that's like, I had this dream car collection and, the only way to get the collection is to start with one, right? Right. So I got to start chipping away. And I had a 37 Ford Roadster. It was pretty pimped out. And then I sold it because I got bored of it, and so so then I invested that money. So I'm like, okay, so I can have more money to buy the next one, right? Yeah. Roll it over, keep growing. Okay, so that's what I was trying to do. I should have bid on that Rolls Royce. I'm so upset about that. Anyway, it was funny because the two of us were negotiating because him and his wife wanted to purchase a house. And so we're going back and forth. We totally didn't expect it to be that cheap because that was totally within both of our price ranges. We totally would have been able to afford that. But we were both commenting on how we thought it was going to go to like $500,000 or more or whatever, to nothing. It's just the craziest thing. So that's the thrill seeker. Just ooh, I got to do it. Now, the retail therapy shopper, this is a person who seeks comfort in their behavior, unaware that it's doing them harm, like the drinker who self-medicates without realizing that they're fast becoming an alcoholic out of control. This type of compulsive shopper views themselves as a patient of sorts. They'll deliberately shop, believing that it improves their mood, it assuages negative emotions, and it improves depression or fills some sort of a void in their life. What they're not realizing is that its spending isn't retail therapy, but a distraction or a denial from the real problems at hand. And that's the slippery slope, because an alcoholic, just says, oh, one more won't hurt, right? Or I'll quit after this one. Right. One more cigarette. What's one more, right? And so the retail therapy shopper is just going there to soothe themselves in that same way. Now, how about this one? I wasn't familiar with this one. The bulimic shopper. Okay, or at least I've never heard it called this. Shopping bulimics are more in touch with their financial realities of the situation, says Dr. Robbie Ludwig of Today Money. This awareness triggers a lot of guilt, which gets them to return the items so they can convince themselves they've avoided financial consequences for their spending. So they buy it, and then they go back and return it. So yeah, so I've just referred to them as the repeat shopper, but I like the bulimic thing because it's like
regurgitating their
purchase. Yeah, so I think that's good. The chronic indecisiveness is manifested through a game of buying and returning, usually because the shopper believes the item they buy will make them happy, only to regret their purchase later on. So either they figured it out that it didn't make them happy, or the more likely culprit is that they feel guilt for making the expenditure to begin with, knowing it's not within their budget. And so both of those scenarios are a problem because you don't want to keep doing it over and over again. If you figure it out, then stop it. You know what I mean? So that's where they get the repeat shopper syndrome is what I was calling it. So the bargain shopper, this is my mother, because, everything's a bargain.
If anything's on sale, you got to buy it.
Morally obligated.
Yeah.
You must do it. Bargain shoppers impulsively look to buy items on sale. They don't need these items, but because it's a good deal, according to Terrence Schulman of Shopaholics Anonymous, they're similar to the thrill seeker. They find fulfillment in the hunt for discounted goods. The goods themselves are of little importance. They'll scour bargain bins, thrift stores, and garage sales for anything that they can get for cheap. But in the convincing themselves that they are making frugal decisions, they don't realize that it's actually costing them more money, and it's very, very wasteful, because if there's no ultimate end use for the product, there wasn't a purpose in purchasing it at any price, sale or no sale. But you can't convince somebody that has that, like my mother, that it's a problem.
Yeah.
The codependent or approval-seeking shopper now. This is buying gifts for others can be a selfless act, but when it becomes obsessive, it becomes selfish. Or I would say self-centered, because I like the word selfish, I think.
Yeah.
So it becomes self-centered. Compulsive gifters may shower loved ones with gifts of love, out of love, or generosity. What the codependent shopper might not realize is that in doing that, it is a desperate and an expensive attempt at gaining love, acceptance, or approval from others through material items. And it's very, very manipulative. Researchers from the University of Florida reported that between 2 and 8% of the United States population spends money compulsively. And the average compulsive spender is carrying $23,000 in debt. It is a problem that can signal other problems, exacerbate debt, strain relationships, or worse. Don't feel ashamed to admit that you have a problem. Talk to a friend or family member about it, or seek out the professional help from a mental health professional, because this is not a financial issue. It's a mental health issue that becomes a financial issue. Many experts recommend 12-step programs or other type of cognitive behavioral therapy for support and healing. So that's it for our Minutes on Your Money. We have so much more in store. We have a fabulous interview, talk about shopping and discounts. We're going to have our government auctions guy from governmentauctions.org, Ian Aronovich, on. We've got Moolah Word of the Day. We got moneyisms and our keys to riches. Stay tuned for more. Unlock Your Wealth Radio. We'll be right back after this.
Commander Marty Logan here from the Top Gun Seminars. What I've learned over the years is that the most successful people in life have coaches to guide them along their chosen path. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, Tony Stewart, Tom Hopkins, Kathy Colby all had coaches. Whether it was their father, someone else's father, or another person who helped them to shape their desires into an achievable path to success with a system of accountability where quitting was the only way to fail. Each of these people had someone who didn't see them as they first were, but as the person inside they knew they could easily become. Financial coaching can be the single addition you need to become financially independent. Call the Unlock Your Wealth Foundation now for your free consultation. 1-866-966-9420. That toll-free number again is 1-866-966-9420. Or visit us on the web at www.unlockyourwealth.com.
I'm Heather Wagenhals. Too much month left over at the end of the money? Tired of paying off debt again like a slave? Then tune in to my 1-minute update on Fort Myers Beach Radio for your morning cup of money motivation. And for more tips, visit crackingyourmoneycode.com.
Attention passengers, please fasten your seatbelts as we are in for some turbulent weather ahead.
Bill Thomason is the Valley's premier business coach. Bill can help you ride out the turbulence your business may encounter. Bill Thomason is the America's premier executive coach and strategist. Bill can help you create the life you will love living. Over more than a quarter century, Bill has helped thousands of people just like you to achieve success beyond what they had imagined. Now is the best time you will ever have to decide what you want and to take powerful action toward achieving the outcomes you desire in your life. Bill has studied the success patterns of the highly successful people, and he has provided coaching and training programs to small business people and to top Fortune 500 executives across the U.S. and Canada. Now you can benefit from Bill's experience. If you are like most people, you may just need the professional encouragement a coach can give and a real plan for creating the outcomes you say you want in life. Call Bill now, 602-321-7192 to schedule executive coaching sessions.
Thank you for flying NLP Skills Training Institute.
Work all day, stress all night. Take your mind off your money and focus on your life.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. Today's show is sponsored in part by LifeLock. Comprehensive identity theft protection from LifeLock helps safeguard your finances, credit, and good name. Get your special offer for Unlock Your Wealth Radio listeners at unlockyourwealthradio.com/LifeLock and protect your financial future now. And while you're doing that, how about our Moolah Word of the Day from our Maestro of Moolah? What did I do with the piece of paper? Oh, here it is. Compulsive buying disorder. It is characterized by an obsession with shopping and buying behavior that causes adverse consequences. According to Kellett and Bolton, compulsive buying is experienced as an irresistible, uncontrollable urge, resulting in excessive, expensive, and time-consuming retail activity that is typically prompted by negative affectivity. That's affect with an A.
Mouthful, huh?
Exactly. It results in gross social, personal, and or financial difficulties. CBD is found in about 6% of the United States population and may be almost as common in males as it is in females.
CBD, compulsive buying disorder.
Yes. Who knew the guys could have a problem with that?
Yeah.
But, I guess I saw a lot of them at the auction. It's not a problem if you can afford it and it doesn't affect all those other things. There's a difference between shopping within your means, and if you're rich, that just means you have more means. It doesn't mean you're going crazy.
Yeah. I did plenty of it as a kid. I was buying a new guitar every 6 months. But I traded in the old one.
See? And you could probably had a pretty good way to justify it because it was about honing and refining your craft.
Yeah.
Because
I probably lost money on every deal, though.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get, you weren't going to get as much on the trade.
Right, but it certainly reduced the barrier to entry to the newer thing.
Oh, yeah. Looking back, I wish I could have, I probably had a few 1950 Les Pauls in my possession and got rid of them. They're probably worth $10,000 now.
Wow, yeah, that would be cool. Well, perhaps you can visit a government auction and find some more on deep discount. Yeah. Because I bet some, drug dealers probably collected that sort of stuff. You could have one from somebody that was super famous.
Yeah, yeah.
Like a real Les Paul with Les Pauls.
That's what those guys get their hands on?
They get all kinds of stuff. When you have a drug seizure,
cool.
They take everything. They take the property, they take all the contents in it because you could have bought that, piece of memorabilia with drug money. They don't know, so they take it all away from you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Thanks for playing. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go directly to jail. So the results of that would be Ian Aronovich's specialty because he wants to make it easy for consumers like you to find government-seized and surplus merchandise from all over the country. He created an incredible website, governmentauctions.org, and it compiles and provides information about government auctions for all sorts of goods. He began shopping government auctions for the bargains they yielded and the artifacts of the good life, electronics, cars, and jewelry. But instead of leaving with great deals, he came away with a business idea, a website that lists auctions of government seized and surplus items and foreclosures. While government websites usually list their auctions and the internet abounds with foreclosed properties on the auction block, governmentauctions.org is a one-stop repository of information about such events throughout the country. And he's been doing it for almost a decade now. So let's give a chat, shall we, with Ian Aronovich, and we will find out more. Ian, welcome to Unlock Your Wealth Radio. We're so excited to talk to you today.
Oh, it's so awesome to be. So awesome to be with you guys.
I'm thrilled because we've never had anybody talk about making money with government auctions. And, I remember when growing up, my girlfriend's dad had bought one of those Mustangs from a police auction, and he actually got a police car. So the engine was all souped up and everything, and he got to pick what color they painted it. And that's been my only experience with a government auction. Is it just cars, or what other kind of stuff are available at government auctions?
No, you name it. It's cars, electronics, jewelry, equipment, real estate. Anything under the sun, anything that you can imagine, it's sold at a government auction for several reasons. And that's because government auctions come about via a couple of ways. Some of them criminal seizures or tax seizures, custom seizures, police seizures. sheriff's seizures, tax seizures, and so on and so forth. But there's also a bunch of surplus. The federal government, the Department of Defense, which is the Army, Navy, all the services, all of them surplus stuff out, and also you have the federal government, the state government, the local governments. All of those guys have equipment, have cars, have electronics, and whatever you can imagine, and they use it, and then they eventually they buy new stuff and they sell the old stuff. Sometimes it's not even that long. Sometimes it's only 2 years old.
Oh, wow.
So basically anything you can imagine, you can find at a government auction. And so when you go to those customs auctions, those are actually the best, because you can find stuff like anything that comes into a port on a container. You can find it in an auction. So I mean, I've seen a yellow submarine up for auction. I've seen growing lights up for auction, and iPads, the general stuff, cars, electronics, jewelry. But virtually anything.
So it's seized for whatever reason when it comes in, then, and that's what makes them so attractive, or. I mean,
with the custom seizures, what happens is, either they don't declare the merchandise properly, or it doesn't meet, for instance, EPA regulations, or they just don't claim it, or they don't have enough money to, while it's getting inspected, to pay for the storage. Whatever the reason is, they sell it, and they generally sell it. They generally sell it in a warehouse of a big federal contractor, anything you can imagine. And sometimes things come in on pallets, sometimes things come in boxes, and sometimes you get individual items and they break them up. Like, there are certain customs auctions which are really, they just basically sell odd lots, and some of them are even sight unseen. Like, you can buy something using a manifest, meaning to say you don't even see what's for auction, but you know that the container contains, 10,000 pieces of T-shirts or something like that.
Okay. So what is the advantage of buying at an auction?
The advantage of buying at an auction is because you can buy virtually anything that you want. An auction, especially when it's a live auction, it's a very inefficient marketplace. Why? Because the people in the room are really the only people. Yes, you can have write-in bids, and you can have, televised bids and internet bids and so on and so forth. But when if you're going to a live auction, and on a large level also an internet auction, if you're going to be buying something that not a lot of people are interested in that room, or virtually no one's interested in, you can really get it for pennies on the dollar. And then also stuff that, even is popular, at some point people are going to drop off in bidding, and they're going to say, wait a second, if I can buy an iPod in the store for, $600, at the auction I expect to get it for $300, $400, right? So they're going to drop off in their bidding. And even for that really popular stuff, a lot of times you can, get deals. I'm going to say a lot of times, but not always, because, later on, hopefully we'll talk about it, but there's also things to watch out about.
Okay. All right. So it's worth my time then. You see all of these new shows like Storage Wars and these pawn shop shows, and you see all these different the archaeology guys. What are those? The pickers, going around and doing stuff. So has all of these television shows started to affect auctions and values in that respect? I mean, are we still able to get deals, or are they kind of mixed up because everybody's trying to go to them now?
Well, okay. I would say 10, 20 years ago, it was probably a lot less people who knew about these auctions. But right now, a lot of people know about them, and there's certainly more participants, but at the same time, it's not such an efficient marketplace. Again, it's not an eBay auction. If you try to sell something on eBay, for instance, you're going to get pretty much market price, because there's so many buyers and there's so many sellers over there. But again, anytime there's an auction, and it's not the whole world really buying and selling stuff, yes, it's a little more competitive now. Yes, it was probably a little bit easier 10 years ago to get deals, but you still can get a lot of deals, because there's a huge number of reasons why you would be able to get a deal today, and I'll just give you a couple of them. For example, if you are prepared for the auction, and you've done your research, and you know what you're going to buy, and you know that, let's say a particular item is going to take a warehouse to store and a big truck to transport, and it's going to take a certain down payment at the auction and a bunch of money 20 days or 30 days later, you're going to prepare those things. And, not everybody in the room is going to be able to get a warehouse, to get a truck, to have the down payment, to have the money in 30 days. So you're going to have an advantage over those people. And even with the added competition, you still can get a lot of deals as long as you prepare and as long as you know what you're bidding on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, you're stimulating a whole bunch more questions, and you've got my gears turning. So you mentioned about a process, and you also mentioned things to stay away from. And so we're coming close to our break. So when we get back after the break, I'd like to talk about how can you plan and strategize for success using auctions to make money. You are listening to Ian Aronovich on Unlock Your Wealth Radio, and we'll be right back with more after this.
Commander Marty Logan here from the Top Gun Seminars. What I've learned over the years is that the most successful people in life have coaches to guide them along their chosen path. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, Tony Stewart, Tom Hopkins, Kathy Colby all had coaches. Whether it was their father, someone else's father, or another person who helped them to shape their desires into an achievable path to success with a system of accountability where quitting was the only way to fail. Each of these people had someone who didn't see them as they first were, but as the person inside they knew they could easily become. Financial coaching can be the single addition you need to become financially independent. Call the Unlock Your Wealth Foundation now for your free consultation. 1-866-966-9420. That toll-free number again is 1-866-966-9420. Or visit us on the web at www.unlockyourwealth.com.
Welcome to the Unlock Your Wealth Update. Here's Heather Wagenhals.
Today's moneyism is about justifying poverty. The last lines of William Henry Davies' poem about money reads, "When I had money, oh, my many friends proved all untrue. But now I have no money, oh, my friends are real, though very few." This is a horrible misnomer about friends and money and sets us up to be mistrustful of others and to justify not pursuing wealth because people are going to come around you only because of or to borrow your money. That's ludicrous. Regardless of social or financial position, you are going to have charlatans and people of dubious backgrounds. Income level is irrelevant. If you are surrounded by people you don't care for when forging bonds of friendship, ask yourself, what am I doing or saying to attract those around me? And what can I change to get more of what I desire? For more great resources to help you create unlimited wealth and happiness, visit our website at crackingyourmoneycode.com. I'm Heather Wagenhals. Now go out and unlock your wealth today. I'm Heather Wagenhals. Too much month left over at the end of the money? Tired of paying off debt like a slave? Then tune in to my 1-minute update on the Jiggy Jaguar Radio Network for your cup of money motivation. And for more tips, visit crackingyourmoneycode.com.
Attention passengers, please fasten your seatbelts as we are in for some turbulent weather ahead.
Bill Thomason is the Valley's premier business coach. Bill can help you ride out the turbulence your business may encounter. Bill Thomason is the America's premier executive coach and strategist. Bill can help you create the life you will love living. Over more than a quarter century, Bill has helped thousands of people just like you to achieve success beyond what they had imagined. Now is the best time you will ever have to decide what you want and to take powerful action toward achieving the outcomes you desire in your life. Bill has studied the success patterns of the highly successful people, and he has provided coaching and training programs to small business people and to top Fortune 500 executives across the U.S. and Canada. Now you can benefit from Bill's experience. If you are like most people, you may just need the professional encouragement a coach can give and a real plan for creating the outcomes you say you want in life. Call Bill now, 602-321-7192 to schedule executive coaching sessions.
Thank you for flying NLP Skills Training Institute.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. You are listening to Unlock Your Wealth Radio, and I am your purveyor of prosperity, Heather Wagenhals, and I am joined by Government Auctions Specialist Ian Aronovich. And Ian, before the break, we were talking about all of the different things that we can buy at auctions, and that auctions, while the markets there's a bigger awareness because of TV shows and stuff. With the amount of auctions that are out there, you can still get good deals. So let's talk strategy for a minute. So how do I go about working my first auction? So I've got an idea in mind that I want to be able to buy something at auction. So what's my strategy?
Okay, so the first thing to do is you have to know in advance the exact rules for the auction and be prepared to follow them. And, this will include what type of an auction it is, what type of bids are to be made, what forms of payment are acceptable, what are the procedures for removal of the merchandise at the end of the auction, and kind of, when do you have to make payment if it's a big payment. Second thing is you always want to bring two forms of ID, at least one picture ID, and for some of these auctions, especially when you bid on IRS stuff, you're going to need to give your Social Security number. And if the payment method required, for instance, is a cashier's check, you want to bring a lot of these in a lot of denominations so that you can pay for items easily. And if some of them go unused, you can redeposit them back into your account. Now, if this is really your first auction, you really don't want to bid on it. You want to use your first several auctions as a learning experience. And in other words, get a feel for the auctions and observe and plan your strategy for the future, because you're going to know if you start going to one type of an auction, you're going to know how the bids are being made. You're going to know how quickly everything moves. You're going to know kind of who the players are, because there's some people who attend auctions religiously, if you decide that you're going to start bidding at an auction, what you want to do is you want to keep your hands to yourself. And that means don't raise your hands or your bidder number unless you specifically want to make a bid.
My nose always itches at an auction.
You never want to itch it. You want to bend down to itch your nose because, the auction moves so fast, and the auctioneer...
It always does that.
Yeah. If the auctioneer may interpret like you're trying to itch your nose, especially if you put your hand a little higher than your head, as a bid, and you don't want to get stuck with a bid that you never intended to make.
I know.
And,
it was a hideous painting. It was at a charity, and it was a hideous painting, and I don't know why it always happens. I'm like, oh my God, I just need to walk out of the room when it starts.
Oh man! Well, yeah, you have to be very careful. So keep your bidding number on your lap.
Okay.
Another thing is very, very important is you have to come up with a bidding plan and stick to it. Well, this means prior to the auction, you should decide exactly what items you'll be bidding on. You got to research their value, set what the maximum amount of money you're willing to bid on each item. Because, as I said, the live auction is a very fast-paced environment, and so is an online auction for that matter. And it's very easy to get caught up in, and I've talked in plenty of this on previous shows. I used to be on the eBay radio, as auction fever. So when auction fever hits, auction fever hits, don't catch it. You may see it in the audience. You may see it going around. Don't bid on items that you didn't plan to bid on. Don't ever go above what you have set as your maximum bid. Even if you think it's still a good deal. If you set the bid previous to the auction, you are different. You're a different person at the auction. Okay. And if you follow these guidelines, you're much more likely to be successful. But here, let me give you quickly also some good bidding strategies, okay?
Okay, perfect.
When you're bidding on items, again, I'm going to say it over again, but it's important to get this ingrained, is set a limit and stick to it. This means you accurately assess the value of everything that you're bidding on, decide what the maximum price is going to be before the auction, and stick to it. Also, don't let the auctioneer do the bidding for you. I don't know, you've been to these auctions, so you probably know a lot of times the auctioneer will ask for specific bids in the beginning, like, can I have 300? Do I hear 1,500? And everything moves so fast, but don't feel compelled to give into the suggested bid by the auctioneer. And if you're not comfortable, for instance, bidding what the auctioneer has thrown out as the first, second, and third bid, just bid whatever you want. So if the auctioneer says, can I have 300? You can raise your hand and say $50.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you can kind of set the pace.
Yeah, and you can set the pace because the auctioneer's interest is to set the pace on a much faster level because they're going to get a commission based on what the final bid is going to be, what the winning bid is going to be.
Oh, so they're not just paid to stand up there and go humana $50, humana can I get a 75, humana.
Right. He's going to try to move, or she's going to try to move the auction much more fast. But if you don't think the value of the item is such that that it's $300 or $1,200, bid whatever you want, but make sure you scream loud and clear what the number is.
Okay.
Also, when you go to an auction is a long process. It's a long day. It starts usually 8, 9 in the morning and ends usually 5, 6 in the evening. So what you want to do is, first of all, you want to come You want to come in the beginning, and you want to leave all the way at the end, and you should try to pick some items to bid on that are at the beginning or the end of the auction. And for various reasons, these have lower bids, but mainly because, bidders come late and leave early, so you have less competition. And also, by the end, many have exhausted their funds by the end. So there's another.
Well, I think they also strategize, too, and I think they put the cheap stuff in the morning when your willpower is high, but then they have the expensive stuff, like, because I do car auctions, and at the end, it's your willpower is worn down by the end of the day. Maybe you've had a beer or two, and then auction fever hits, and you just have to have that car because, it brings back memories of when you were in high school driving around in a 1979 a Pontiac Trans Am, and you're just like, oh, but I want to relive high school, and so you get carried away with the fever.
Well, yeah, but you should try. You should still try to bid in the end of the auction because a lot of people will leave and a lot of people will exhaust their money. I mean, over and over again, yes, they try to do that 100%. But, take them on their challenge. If you think you're going to be able to get a deal and you've set your maximum bid, at the end of the auction, you probably have a better chance of getting a deal on it than in the middle of the auction when you have the most amount of people there and they haven't exhausted their money yet.
Okay, so maybe you just need to go take a nap somewhere so you're fresh.
Right.
For when your item comes up. Okay, that's a good strategy.
Okay, and the last one is bidding against professionals. A lot of times you may or may not be a professional, but you'll see other professionals, used car dealers, used car dealers, used anything dealers, jewelry dealers. They'll obviously have done their legwork, and sometimes you can use their expertise to your advantage. So a car dealer obviously knows the value of the car that he or she is bidding on, and often he'll drop out of the bidding at a certain point because the price has gone too high in his or her estimation. Well, what you need to realize is that the dealer typically sets a maximum bid by discounting from it the profit that he wishes to make on the resale. And so when he or she stops bidding, you can offer just a small amount more, and if you're the top bidder at that time, you may walk away with a bargain. But it's imperative, even when you use this strategy, that you still never go above your own maximum bid.
Right, and so if they back out, that might be a good indication that maybe only one more bid or so would be reasonable.
Yeah. If they back out, because when they're in this professionally, they're not trying to buy it for themselves. They they have to get it for a cheaper price than you do. But it doesn't mean that if you get it for one more bid over, or another $50 or $100, that you're not also going to get a deal.
Right.
So watch for when they drop out of the bidding. At the same time, if you said that you're not going to pay more than $5,000 for this car, don't bid more than $5,000.
Right. So, okay. Yeah. So you just got to keep your emotions in check, because the professional buyer he's buying for business. So he's not emotionally engaged in it, because it's not like, because he's not going to go tool around in it and look good in it or whatever, wear it, whatever the item might be.
Absolutely. And it may have a little bit more of a value for you because, you want to cruise around on that car on the street, or you won't, it may be a car that you're collecting. So for you, it may have a different value than for him because he's just going to resell it,
Right. Okay. So what are some of the things, so since, that's kind of a cautionary tale, like, yeah, you can, but, you can get still get a good deal by watching those guys. What are some things that maybe we should be avoiding when it comes to auctions?
Okay, so the things that you should be avoiding when it comes to auctions, very important, is, a lot of auctions try to pass off themselves as government auctions, and a lot of times they're not really government auctions. They'll just say, some kind of a federal auction or this and that, but in reality it's just a private company selling private things. So first of all, the first thing you can do is, when you're dealing with cars, for instance, is you can ask the auctioneer or some of the people in the auction what kind of title you're going to get. Like, if it's a federal auction, you're going to get, if it's a treasury auction, you're going to get, U.S. government title. If it's a state auction, that government's going to give you title. But if the title is going to come from XYZ Corp, you know that's not a real government auction. At the same time, you also want to watch out, and this generally won't happen at a legitimate government auction, but again, this is a clue that you're not at a government auction, is when you are watching an item and no one's bidding on an item, or maybe one or two people and the bids are kind of low, and all of a sudden, after a while, the bidding gets very, very ferocious. Then then you probably are in a scenario where there's a shill in the audience and there's a shill or two bidding against each other to raise the price, and you want to stay away from that. So if you see consistent bidding on an item, that's totally fine. But if you see no bidding or low bidding and then all of a sudden it jump like crazy and go like crazy, you definitely want to stay away.
Okay, that's great advice. Now, let's talk a little bit about what you offer on your website, because you aggregate all the legitimate government auctions, correct?
Correct.
All right, so tell us what people can find on your website.
Okay, so on our website, we, as I told you, as I told you before in the intermission, we aggregate information about government auctions and foreclosures all over the United States, and there's several ways of searching our website. So number one is you can go, we have a tab for auctions. You can punch in your zip code or you can click on your state, and you can see what the auctions are that are coming up in your area, whether they're online auctions or live auctions. You can also, if you're looking specifically for cars, you can click on the autos tab, and you can search and see what kind of what cars are for sale in your particular zip code. And then if you're searching for other more specific items, for instance, if you're searching for a gold ring or you're searching for a FEMA trailer or whatever else, you can go to our items tab, and that's going to let you actually keyword search for items that are being sold at government auctions. And the way our site works is we give you a 3-day free trial, and then if you like the service, and most people do, you can keep it for $19.95 a month. And if you don't like it, just cancel, and it's easy to cancel. You can cancel online, you can call us, or you can email us to cancel also. You don't get charged at all.
Yeah, and it seems like for less than $1 a day, you can create an incredible income stream using government auctions to acquire your inventory.
Yeah, and the cool thing about acquiring your inventory at government auctions is let's say you're selling on eBay and you decide you want to sell brand name popular stuff, cell phones or whatever else, and you contact the supplier or distributor and you start buying. Well, are you really going to get a substantially better price than the next guy? And unless you buy like refurbished equipment, because when you're buying from a supplier, you almost always are not buying substantially better than someone else. And you can almost always find someone that's willing to make less profit to beat you at a sale. But when you're selling non-brand stuff, for instance, when you're buying, when you're buying a pocketbook for $250 from a supplier that doesn't have a brand name, well, who's looking for that pocketbook? No one. It's not really in demand. No one is going to really search for it on eBay or anywhere else. But at a government auction, you can pick up seized and even surplus property that's brand name, sometimes, as I told you previously, for pennies on the dollar, and often sell it for substantially less than the competition. But again, to do this time and time and again, you have to be willing not to specialize. If you try to specialize, you're going to spend time at every auction, and you're not always going to be able to get a deal on the type of stuff that you buy. If it's, for instance, watches, or if it's, cell phones, or for instance, cars. But if you're willing to say, okay, on this auction, these are the possible deals. On that auction, these are the possible deals. And you say, these are the 5 items that I'm going to bid on, and I've done the cost research on them. I've done the value research on them, and this is as much as I'm going to bid, and you bid on each one of them. And if you end up winning only 1 or 2 of them, still good, because you've got them at a substantial discount, and now you can resell them also at a discount on eBay or another medium and still make money. And then there are some things you can get, as I said, if there's not a lot of bidders in them, for pennies on the dollar, and you can make ridiculous profit on it, selling it even at half the value.
Well, this has been an amazing wealth of information, and thank you so much for being a part of our show today. And for those of you who are driving around without a pencil, never fear. UnlockYourWealthRadio.com is here, where you can visit Ian's show page and get all the links to his website and tools and tips for investing in auctions. You are listening to Unlock Your Wealth Radio, and we'll be right back with the keys to riches coming up next.
Commander Marty Logan here from the Top Gun Seminars. What I've learned over the years is that the most successful people in life have coaches to guide them along their chosen path. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, Tony Stewart, Tom Hopkins, Kathy Colby all had coaches. Whether it was their father, someone else's father, or another person who helped them to shape their desires into an achievable path to success with a system of accountability where quitting was the only way to fail. Each of these people had someone who didn't see them as they first were, but as the person inside they knew they could easily become. Financial coaching can be the single addition you need to become financially independent. Call the Unlock Your Wealth Foundation now for your free consultation. 1-866-966-9420. That toll-free number again is 1-866-966-9420. Or visit us on the web at www.unlockyourwealth.com.
Heather Wagenhals here from crackingyourmoneycode.com. Tune in to my Unlock Your Wealth update for your daily cup of money motivation. Weekdays at 12:25 during the midday news report on Corey's Hometown Radio, 1370 AM WWCB.
Attention passengers, please fasten your seatbelts as we are in for some turbulent weather ahead.
Bill Thomason is the Valley's premier business coach. Bill can help you ride out the turbulence your business may encounter. Bill Thomason is the America's premier executive coach and strategist. Bill can help you create the life you will love living. Over more than a quarter century, Bill has helped thousands of people just like you to achieve success beyond what they had imagined. Now is the best time you will ever have to decide what you want and to take powerful action toward achieving the outcomes you desire in your life. Bill has studied the success patterns of the highly successful people, and he has provided coaching and training programs to small business people and to top Fortune 500 executives across the U.S. and Canada. Now you can benefit from Bill's experience. If you are like most people, you may just need the professional encouragement a coach can give and a real plan for creating the outcomes you say you want in life. Call Bill now, 602-321-7192 to schedule executive coaching sessions.
Thank you for flying NLP Skills Training Institute.
Work all day, stress all night. Take your mind off your money and focus on your life.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. You are listening to Unlock Your Wealth Radio, and I am Heather Wagenhals, your purveyor of prosperity. And flanking me to my right, I have the maestro of Moolah, Michael Terry.
How you doing, folks?
And we're going to have a chat with you about today's moneyism and how it plays into money dramas like peer groups. Okay. And peer group selection and poverty seem to have a correlation. And I can't remember who said the quote, but they say that you are the sum total of the 5 people you surround yourself with. Who said that? Was that a Dale Carnegie thing?
I've never heard that.
Oh, you haven't?
No, that's good.
You are the sum total of the 5 people you hang out with. So if you're not happy where you are in life, you need to take a look at why you're hanging out with these people.
Yeah.
And we want to think about it not in terms of a manipulative focus about what are these people doing for me, but what value do they bring to the table? Are they enriching your life? And I'm not saying with money. I'm saying, does their friendship make you happy or does it drag you down?
Yeah.
You know, like there's that person that you're like, you see them on the caller ID and you're like, oh my God, go to voicemail. I can't,
Yeah.
I can't talk to them right now. And then you go buy the Slide Dial app and call them back and slip into their voicemail. So you'd be like, hey, I just missed your call. I must have called you back too fast. Well, anyway, so great to hear you. Love to catch up.
I tend to text back. So sorry, I missed your call.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. The cop out.
Yeah.
Okay. But not everybody has the intestinal fortitude to do that, or they have some of these self-defeating behaviors because of programming from moneyisms like justifying poverty. Yeah. So in this poem, he says to us that, but now I have no money and my friends are real, though very few. So if you only need a few friends, like if that's the assumption, you only need a few quality friends, why can't you have a few quality rich friends? Why is the assumption that the only way to have real friends is to be poor?
I mean, this is a really good subject to talk about. You know.
Well, I mean, so answer the question to me. Why do you have to be poor in order to count your friendship as quality?
Well, it's just one of, I'm not poor and I'm not wealthy, so maybe I'm a good person to talk about this.
When were you poor?
When I was a kid.
And I think you're wealthy, but
yeah.
Because you have everything. You have money in the bank, you have a great career, and you have a woman you love.
Yeah. So in that respect, I am wealthy, but I don't have, I don't have $10 million in the bank.
Well, but what is your definition of wealth?
This is true.
I think this is your definition of wealth.
Yeah.
And I think you're there.
Yeah.
If I was to,
I
as an outsider looking in.
I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, when I was poor, as a struggling musician, I don't know where I'm going with this.
The people that you surrounded yourself most with.
Well, I hung around some skanky people back then.
Right. Are you hanging around them now?
Absolutely not.
And are you in a different place now?
Sure.
So one could effectively say that peer group influences your success.
Sure.
And your wealth.
Oh, yeah. You definitely, people, places, and things. I mean, it's pretty important.
Right.
In success.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you think about it, in terms of the definition of success, so what you have now, wherever you are, whatever stage you're in, is a direct result of your efforts.
Yeah.
So if you have things in your life that you don't want, and you want something different, you're going to have to do something different.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's the definition of insanity.
Yeah.
So, but I think that this moneyism of saying, well, your real friends are there for you when you're poor. Yeah, perhaps they are. But that doesn't mean that your rich friends wouldn't be there for you either.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
And I think that we get this thing and there's a difference. I have been around all sorts of people. I grew up impoverished. And I said that I would never be there again.
Yeah.
And then I found myself there a few times, bouncing, getting divorced. I was like, oh my gosh, I went from having it all to being in the poorhouse and sleeping on the floor, starting all over.
Yeah.
But I had the experience to know what not to do and to do something different. And by doing something different, I shortcut my time to success to get back where I wanted to be. But one of the things that I have noticed, and before I had significant accumulation of money, because I think money and wealth are different, because I've always felt very wealthy, because I've always felt very loved by my friends, and my friends never cared whether or not I had money, and half of them didn't even know, because like when I wrote the society column and I was sleeping on the floor, it's because I gave my ex-husband everything. So I had nothing, but nobody treated me any different. We still had the same fun. We still did the same things. Right. It was like nobody probably even knew how bad it was. You know what I mean? And it's because I didn't focus on it either. I mean, what you focus on, you find. So if I'm focusing on the crap in my life, I'm going to get more crap. And every time I turn around, I'm going to find more crap. It's just going to be how it is. But if I'm focused on the good things in my life, even if there's just a few of them, I'm going to tend to focus on every good thing that happens. And I'm going to discount the bad things that happen. And one of the things that I found is the further up the food chain you get, and this is one of the myths that I am working so hard to dispel. And this is kind of maybe where a little bit of politics bleeds in. But if you have ever met someone who has billions with a B in front of it, and sometimes it's a capital B, not a little b, a big B.
Yeah.
Those people are totally different. They're different than millionaires, and they're certainly different than people who are impoverished. But you would never know unless you knew who the billionaire was. If you just met this person on the street, most of them are very unassuming. Mm-hmm. They don't carry an air of wealth or sophistication or class stature that they're better than you. Yeah. You just find yourself attracted to them because of their enthusiasm. Right. Like there's just, this universal vibration that like they're radiating good. And you're like, you know how there's those people that like you like always want to be around because they're always funny or they're having a good time, and they just, when you walk away, you feel better. Yeah. Like that's what they are like. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, there are bad seeds in every bag, or what is it, a bad apple in every barrel, or whatever the saying is. So granted, there could be nasty ones. And when I think politics, I think of some of them, that under the auspices of doing good for the people that are what they consider the underclass or the working class. They're actually working to hurt them, because what they're trying to institute for the poor isn't what made them rich to begin with.
Right.
And that's what confuses the heck out of me. It's like,
it's confusing.
I worked hard and I used these principles to become successful, and now I'm super successful. I'm thinking George Soros, but then all of a sudden I want to change the rules. And I want to tax, and this is becoming a political discussion, but he has these crazy ideas about taxing the middle class to support the poor, when what made him successful and what made him be able to break out of poverty was an opposite system. Yeah. One that rewarded effort, not punished it. Right. So coming back to the financial side, when you surround yourself with people that are better than you, and I'm not talking about having more money, but have a better mindset than you, have better ambition than you, and have this infectious desire to do good in the world, then you will want to rise to that occasion. They will make you better by doing that. And if you stay with the people that are miserable and sick and broke, they're going to pull you down. It was statistically proven in the book Good to Great. If you haven't read that book, they talk about what happens with great companies when they make mergers or acquisitions with good companies. The good company doesn't rise. The great company sinks. And so if your internal five or your immediate five, if your circle of five around you are those people that pull you down, and you have more than one pulling you down than you have others pulling you up, likely you're coming down. But if you are the only person that's at the bottom and you have four people pulling you up, where are you going to go? Yeah. Up if you take their hand and follow them along. So who wouldn't want to make new friends and get new acquaintances? It makes me think of and we're running out of time for our key, but where it makes me think of Don Miguel Ruiz and his son, Don Jose Ruiz, who wrote the Fifth Agreement from the Four Agreements author. And that's be skeptical, but listen. So we want to stay open to the opportunity and be focused on that. So that's it for this week's money drama. Our key this week is take emotion out of the picture, but because I rambled on, you're going to have to tune in at the website if you want to be able to hear that key in its entirety. So for this week's key, our key statement, key affirmation, and key action item, please visit our website at unlockyourwealthradio.com. And for more in-depth interviews with money experts, strategies, and members-only tools to fix your credit, get out of debt, and have more money and happiness, do what other savvy listeners have and visit unlockyourwealthradio.com, where you go to get your money mind right so your wealth and happiness will follow. Become an Insiders Club member today and start receiving the benefits of millionaire wisdom right now. For Unlock Your Wealth Radio and the maestro of Moolah, Michael Terry, I'm Heather Wagenhals. Now go out and unlock your wealth today.
UnlockYourWealthRadio.com is produced by Heather Wagenhals and the Unlock Your Wealth Foundation. UnlockYourWealthRadio.com and its affiliates are copyrighted 2013 with all rights reserved. For more information on the Keys to Riches Financial Wellness Series, please visit our website at www.unlockyourwealth.com.